What's good, everybody? It's your boy Big Nate. Welcome to Big Nate's Book Reviews, home of the best book reviews. And today I am joined by my good friend Raina out in the beautiful Banff, Canada. So say hello, Raina.
Hello.
There we go. And so long story short, the context of what's going on here is she was going to a conference in Calgary, and she paid for the hotel, she paid for the ticket, she paid for the hotel, the lodging, and everything. And I said, let me just ride these coattails. So that's exactly what I did. When she was in the conference all day, among other things, I went book shopping. So today we're going to talk about some of the books that we just bought. Up first was a bookshop called
Pages.
Pages, thank you.
I've been really self-conscious. Can you blame me? Spent hard for the kid lately. Coming out how I anticipated. Everybody wait for a bigger placement. Underrated, elevated. Try to hold on for a better day, but everybody want to keep me in the basement.
And I got two books there. It was all new, so we had to keep it scarce. But up first we got Sigmund Freud's The Uncanny, and then I don't have it right now because I'm reading it and I left it in my backpack, but The Undiscovered Self by Carl Jung. This is a collection of essays by Sigmund Freud, including one that has to do with Da Vinci, and apparently it has to do with some kind of it's based off of one childhood memory, and he does this whole psychoanalysis on all of Leonardo da Vinci's life. And I think it has to do with mommy issues and everything, so we're all for that. Also, the essay The Uncanny, which I've listened to a couple of podcasts on. I don't really get it, but it sounds interesting. And then another essay, The Creative Writer in Daydreaming. Oh, also Family Romances. And if you know anything about Freud, you know it's about to get real funky and real weird. So that, and then the book I'm reading right now by Carl Jung is just fantastic, and I'll be talking that at some point later. But okay, I say you go up next.
My turn?
Yep.
Should I do what I'm currently reading?
Okay, yeah, so Raina did not, because she was busy at her conference all day and not book shopping, she only got one book. So we're gonna do the book she just bought, the book that she's currently reading, and then the book she plans on reading next.
So unlike Nate, I actually don't really like buying brand new books because I think it's too expensive, and I
agree, by the way, but sometimes you just gotta, it's a necessary evil.
And I love the thrill of finding a good deal. So we were at a thrift shop in Spokane, Washington while we were on our drive up to Canada, and I got Milan Kundera, The Joke.
But you've also read what by him?
I've also read The Unbearable Lightness of Being, and I finished just a couple months ago The Book of Laughter and Forgetting, and both are really solid, and I really like Milan Kundera, mostly his, I guess, philosophical ideas, which are very heavily interwoven into his books. So The Unbearable Lightness of Being primarily follows a couple, and so every other chapter it switches off between.
By the way, sorry, real quick, I've had a couple of you motherfuckers recommend me that book, The Unbearable Lightness of Being, so drop a comment if it's fire or if it's not fire.
Yeah, I think it's fire. And each chapter essentially switches off between following that couple and then kind of a little rant that he goes on. And it also relates to the title of The Unbearable Lightness of Being. I think he's, just a cool author.
It's his first book too, allegedly. Yeah. Let us know if you've read The Joke by Milan Kundera.
Oh, don't put my
sorry,
book on
that's
the
my
ground.
bad. $3 at a thrift store.
Also, check out how nice this
Very
copy
nice,
is.
yeah,
It looks
which
brand
I just
new.
threw on the ground.
And I got it for $2.
Okay. Then I walked to this other bookstore called Fair is Fair. There is where I dropped a real bag, but they were all used, so I got this, and I'm actually missing one because the first two books are, what was it called? The Lives of a Cell?
Yeah.
The Lives of a Cell and The Medusa and the Snail by Lewis Thomas, who I have never heard of before, but the idea of I was intrigued by Medusa and Snail because I'm kind of into the science and mythology stuff where those two kind of meet. So this book and this other book that I bought apparently are just like little essays, and I'd never, like I said, I'd never heard of him, and I wasn't, it piqued my interest, but what made them non-negotiable, because there was a huge cutting section of, you should have seen the amount of books that I was gonna get. What really sold me was Edward O. Wilson, like E.O. Wilson, who was the author of the, I'm pretty sure, I think it's him, the author of like that huge fat textbook Superorganisms, which is actually completely what his writing is about. But he said if Montaigne, and if you watch the channel, you know how I feel about Montaigne, which is good. If Montaigne had possessed a deep knowledge of 20th century biology, he would have been Lewis Thomas. And that, yeah. So I had to add both of them as non-negotiables, and I'm glad I did, in fact, because I've started The Lives of the Cell, and it's like Montaigne style. They're only like a few pages each, and they're also just like deeply insightful. But the big theme so far has been, I feel like, the idea of like the collective organism, like the idea that there can be like different species working together in like almost at like some, like a network level kind of thing, but forming like a new thing. Like he talks about how we have mitochondria in our cells, and mitochondria are completely different like species. I don't know. They have a completely different DNA, RNA sequence than us. Like they're like, so there's that, and then chloroplast, same thing in plants. They have a completely different like DNA sequence, and the idea of like ants and colonies, like how they form like their
They have
own...
a different DNA sequence than the host?
Yeah, exactly. No, it's actually been like deeply inside, because again, if he had a deep knowledge of 20th century biology, and then he talks about like ants and stuff, like there's like bacteria in ants that like literally function like specialized organs, like without which they would die, and it's just like, where's the line between what's an organism and what's not? But not to mention the earth too. The whole thing is like the lives of a cell. He compares the in the first essay, which is beautiful, he compares like the entire earth to like the workings of a cell. But anyway, very good. Then I got Tales of an Empty Cabin by Gray Owl. So this is just like some Native American literature. I've read, I feel like more, what's the word, like contemporary stuff, like Ceremony, Natalie Diaz, Sherman Alexie, people like them, but like this is some OG classic Native American literature from what I can tell. Like bro's name is Gray Owl. And it also, it's like not only like just Native American wilderness in general, or not, so it's not only Native American literature in general, so it's not only Native American literature in general, but it's also like a big theme of it is like the Canadian wilderness. And I was just like flipping through it, and
we're in the Canadian wilderness.
Yes, indeed we are. It's called like Tales of an Empty Cabin. I think it's like very casual. It's almost like storytelling, because I've talked about this too. Like a lot of the Native American stuff is like oral traditions. So like that's kind of how stories get told sometimes. And I was just like reading through it, and it was just very like comforting, very calming. I don't know. Honestly, it gave me like Emerson vibes. So had to get that. That was mandatory. All right, up next we got Joseph Campbell, Primitive Mythology, which is like volume 1 of his Masks of God, like final I think it's like his, well, he says that it's like his magnum opus kind of thing, where it's like he just spent like years and years and years working on like these like textbook level like analyses on all these different types of mythology. So, and I was telling you, I'm pretty sure this book is like rare at some level, and then it's like this beautiful ass Penguin edition. Like when I look for these, like, cause this is like, there's 4 volumes, and when I try and find them, they're like not easily found on Amazon, and I have not found like this copy, and this thing is beautiful. And it's almost like vintage, like retro. So I don't even know what it's about, but if it's Joseph Campbell, I buy it. And further supporting that fact is the fact that up next we have Transformations of Myth Through Time by Joseph Campbell. And it's basically just like a bunch of, it says 13 brilliant final lectures from the renowned Master of Mythology. And I was telling you about this too, that like, because in The Power of Myth, which is like probably I would say one of my favorite books, I think, of all time, I think it's official, but that's all done interview style, and I do love the format of lecture. Like I feel like, I don't know, the casualness of it allows actually more things to like come out, and so this should be interesting just because it's fucking Joseph Campbell. And then up next, related too. So I saw this in the science section, and it's called The Tao of Physics. And at first I thought it looked kind of corny, like, because like I said, I'm interested in like the science mythology stuff, but I thought it would be like just like really bad. That's what I thought. And then I'm like looking at the back, like, you know, let's see what people had said about this. It's at New York Magazine, Physics Today, and then who do we see but the one and only Joseph Campbell. I have been reading the book with amazement and the greatest interest, recommending it to everyone I meet and as often as possible in my lectures. I think Capra has done a magnificent and extremely important job, so that was an absolute mandatory must purchase, no questions asked, buy. And it just like looks sick. I don't know if I'll catch any cool pictures, but it's like, from what I was like from the pictures I was seeing, it's like mythology pictures compared with science pictures, and let's just say there are some interesting parallels. Okay, what are you currently reading?
All right, so I'm currently reading and
at the
following.
The very bottom of the bag.
Yeah. Also, if you see me looking around, it's because we're in bear country.
We're in bear country. It is, what do they say, berry season?
It's, yeah.
The campsite we've been at.
I don't know why the air quotes, but yes, it's berry season.
I thought it was a pun, actually.
No,
but
it's literally
yeah,
berry
it is
season,
literally
so
berry
bears
season.
Are collecting
it is literally
berries. So I'm reading a book for one of my classes. It's a medical anthropology class. And I actually first read this book in high school, and it essentially determined
Wait, did we say what it was?
Not yet.
Oh.
I'm leading up.
Oh, okay.
You have
yeah.
to
anticipation, build
it.
Okay.
Yeah. They have to want to know.
Right.
And I first read it in high school, and it essentially helped me determine what I wanted to do in college.
Mm-hmm. True.
So the book I'm reading is Mountains Beyond Mountains. It follows Paul Farmer, who was a medical anthropologist and physician who did a lot of work in...
The OG.
Yeah.
He's like your hero, low-key.
Yeah.
So
he's
badass too.
Yeah, but I put him as my idol for an application I did one time.
Yeah, nice.
But yes, big fan of Paul Farmer.
Rest
Just
in
a
peace.
lot of equity in healthcare internationally, and doing work essentially for the poor, which I really love.
And he's badass because he's like, we were talking about it because he's like vigilante, like what did he?
Yeah, he would steal supplies from the hospital that he was attending for medical school,
like Harvard,
and take it
right?
back to Haiti. Yeah.
Yeah. And like he smuggled shit too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just
I think
cool
he had
shit.
someone else. I haven't gotten to that part yet, and it's been a while since I reread it, so I don't remember. But I think he has someone else smuggle, or maybe he smuggles it.
Yeah. I vaguely
he at
remember.
least has his girlfriend at the time smuggle some stuff in.
And he like cusses, which I don't know. That's like a nice touch. It's just not.
So bad.
Yeah, it's not what you'd expect. But anyway, Paul Farmer is dope.
Good commentary on basically the level of care that we give to people and how it differs depending on where you live and how wealthy you are.
Yeah, inequalities. Yeah, global
and it's
inequalities.
essentially this idea that cost effectiveness is kind of ridiculous because we only talk about cost effectiveness when it comes to the poor, and this is good enough for someone who doesn't have anything, but really we should be giving them a preferential option. So love this book, or would recommend it to anyone.
Okay, this we found at a little free library, actually, like one of those little, what's it called, public library, you know what I'm talking about,
Like the little
free
public libraries
exactly
on the side of the street, the little birdhouse looking things.
So first I got 8 great comedies, which I think the jury was out about how I felt out about this cover, but I think it's actually fire. Okay, it's not focusing. It's focusing on your face, bro. But anyway, it just apparently just as the title would suggest, 8 great comedies. It has Aristophanes, Machiavelli, Shakespeare, Oscar Wilde, Anton Chekhov, etc., etc., etc. And apparently in The Clouds by Aristophanes, 2 things. He goes savage mode on like Aristotle. Like I'm pretty sure they even talk about it like in like maybe not the Republic, but like they talk about how Aristophanes like shit on him. And I believe there's the first fart joke, one of the first fart jokes ever in literature. So I'm excited. And up next after that, great modern short stories. Yeah, I don't know. First off, it was free, so I'm just
focusing.
Yeah, it still was your ugly ass face, bro.
That's focusing.
With my ugly ass face. All right, geez, it's not even that cool of a cover. But Joseph Conrad, Heart of Darkness, which is not really a short story, bro. That shit's long.
Yeah, I don't know how they're.
Yeah, like the first 100 pages or so is gonna be. But anyway, D.H. Lawrence, Somerset I never know how to spell. How would you spell it? Mogham, Somerset Mogham.
Moham?
Yeah, Ernest Hemingway, of course, Willa Cather, Sherwood Anderson, Faulkner, Pearl S. Buck. Pearl S. Buck, I think, would be interesting. I've been telling you how I think.
The Good Earth.
Yeah, we read The Good Earth like in high school, and it was horrible. But I have a feeling if I read it now, I don't know why, but I've had this suspicion that if I read it, I think I would really like it. Actually,
I think I do remember having some of those cool chapters where it's describing something that's very mundane, like working in the field, plowing the land.
Yeah, exactly.
But maybe it's written really well.
Pachinko vibes. Best parts of Pachinko are when just the mundane stuff. But
yeah.
John Steinbeck. So I don't know. Yeah, why not? Just what the hell. Let me know if you've read any of these. But then, okay, we'll go ahead and end on a bang. Raina, what are you?
I'm the last book?
I thought I had more books. I think I'm missing a couple. In fact, I know I'm missing a couple.
We're accidentally ending on me.
Yeah, that's okay.
Sorry, I feel like I'm also the driest big names guest.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Let us know in the comments, bro. Actually,
they said agree.
They said she is by
they said
far
like
the
this
worst.
if you agree.
They said bring back your sister, bro. Bring back, yeah.
Madison would be, I like Madison.
All right, what do we got?
Okay, anyways.
The people like this one. This is a fan favorite.
So, this is Norwegian Wood by Haruki Murakami.
No build up.
Well, you gotta change up the tempo every now and then. They're expecting
also, bro looks funny. Bro looks funny.
No, he doesn't. He looks contemplative.
Contemplative. Okay. Anyway, Norwegian Wood.
Norwegian Wood.
What drew you to the book?
What drew me to this is I've read 2 other books by Murakami.
What were they?
I read. I'm glad you asked.
I'm 2 steps ahead, bro.
I read Kafka by the Shore, which you have also read.
Yep.
And I've also read 1Q84. Both I think are solid books. I like his writing because it's very surreal and entertaining, and I think it's easy to get through. They're not really laborious. Neither of us knows how to talk.
Yeah, we're quite bad.
Laborious,
as this trip has shown.
Much better in writing when you don't have to hear us pronounce it. It's not laborious to get through.
You talking right now is a little laborious. I know. I'm just. All right, what's it about? I think so.
Let's see. Okay.
I'll throw you.
So hold up. Okay, so I feel like I usually give Murakami's books 4 out of 5s. I really like them. They're entertaining. Fair. I like surrealism in literature.
He's a very original voice too,
yes.
undeniably. Whether or not you vibe with it completely, he's original.
Although I do think. And I think this is also his style, so it's not necessarily like a ding, but just doesn't match what my preferences are. But there's a lot that goes unresolved, or it doesn't really feel like the exposition is what
That's how
you
Kafka
want it
on the
to
Shore
be.
was.
Yeah,
the ending kind of just came and was it didn't feel right. It didn't feel right.
And I mean, you would lose a lot if he explained everything, obviously, but there's something that feels a little left unsaid.
Unresolved.
So it says on the back, and it's not a review, it starts immediately into the summary.
Thank God.
So
you know how I feel about that.
Toru, a serious young college student in Tokyo, is devoted to Naoko, a beautiful and introspective young woman. But their mutual passion is marked by the tragic death of their best friend years before. As Naoko retreats further into her own world, Toru finds himself drawn to a fiercely independent and sexually liberated young woman.
He does do some little funny stuff with the sex stuff.
It has a lot of weird.
It gets a little funky.
Yeah. I think that's maybe one of the criticisms of him is there's always something where it's feels unnecessary.
You will know a description of the woman's breasts.
Yeah, and they're usually big.
Yeah, of course.
It's a magnificent
and maybe underage a little bit, but go ahead.
Oh, he also has a background in music, so a lot of his books incorporate that, which is pretty cool. Like 1Q84, she gets in a taxi, and this musical piece is playing.
Kafka on the Shore
on the Shore, but it's more contemporary music, I think.
Yeah, I forget.
Or semi-contemporary.
I forget. Yeah, so that doesn't sound magical at all, though.
It doesn't, but I also have a feeling it's not going to be as much of a romance as the back cover makes it sound.
Yeah. Okay.
Although I do love me a good romance.
Yeah,
I'm not going to elaborate.
If you follow her on Goodreads, you know.
Don't follow me on Goodreads, in fact.
But okay, on that note, that does it. Another wildly successful book haul. Let us know if you've read any of these books. And without further ado, shout out to Canada. Shout out to you.
Banff.
Appreciate you. Shout out to Banff. Yes.
Camping, outdoors people.
I'm gonna throw
which we are.
montages throughout this. I'll figure that out.
We also
but-
kayaked for 5 hours today, not by our own volition.
No.
but we
Okay.
kayaked
Just
for 5
quick.
hours.
Yeah. Quick story. It was so serene. Two hours of just like the most. We were both remarking on how unnaturally calm it was. Just absolutely. You could skip
Water
a
was
stone on
still.
that bitch. Dude, this is
It is beautiful.
And then on our, literally, and I'm not even saying this exaggeratingly, literally, once we decided to turn back, a fierce gale wind picked up, and it was like we were basically rowing nonstop because we had gone 2 hours out, and we weren't even really lounging. We were like kind of rowing because we were trying to get past this little valley, and we never even went there. Anyway.
It was an unreachable valley.
And then
I think it was an optical illusion.
Yeah, and it was so bad we had to like pull off on the beach, and then like there was nowhere left to walk, so we had to, bro.
And also, we were like, we paddled in the middle of the lake the whole time, so we weren't even close to a coast.
No. It was treacherous. It was
yeah.
treacherous, undeniably.
Nate
but
has a blister from it.
Look, don't believe me?
It was gnarly,
Ouch.
man. I'm still falling into
Out.
this.
Yeah, okay. Okay, and on that note, thank you for watching Big Nate's Book Reviews, home of the best book reviews. Nice.
Thank you.